Yeah, I already got you, Fresco. Yeah. I'm see you streaming now. It looks like, or you're carrying somebody. I don't know. I can't see real quick. I checked it, but. Is that right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're live. Cool. Right. What am I doing here? What am I doing? Getting confused. The world is ending right here, right where we stand. Made it to the winter. Uh-oh, summer too. Son of a bitch. If I were a smart man, and I'm not, I would have sharpened my pencils. Hold on. I'm stupid. I'm a stupid ass. I want to be the first to tell you. Alexa, set your volume for 5. Alexa, set your volume for 6. There we go. That's a little better. Just a little too low. But it was too loud earlier and distracted me. Ow. Shit. Shoe just came off. Anyway. Alright. Alright. Let's see what we can get done here. I'll be honest. I'm in like a terrible mood. So, hopefully I can stay focused enough on this to get this. What? I don't know how I triggered that time. Oh. My bad. Do you guys like my basement? It's nice, right? Yeah, that's cool. I didn't even notice I did that. Whoops. Alright. Adjust it a little better. Okay. At the end of the last thing, I decided I'm getting rid of the damn telephone pole. I don't like it. Damn, I needed that laugh, actually, I think, a little bit. So what we're going to try to do here is try to figure out the main structures behind the tree. Build up from there. And I'm just going to try to rough in the... really rough in the leaf formations. I don't think I'm going to go into much detail because it's going to be more important for me to have the branches down. You know what I mean? Like the actual hardline branches, than it is to worry about the leaves. I can be a little more free with them once we get the canvas going. You know, actually get paint on the canvas. Because most of that's just going to end up, if I try to draw it out and stuff, I'm going to lose too much of the actual important shit. Right before I left work today, I got a little message from my boss, and apparently I'm having a meeting with him on like around 2 tomorrow about some behavior from Friday. To be honest, I have no idea what it was. I'm sure I dropped a few F-bombs after a bad phone call. I'm trying to think what ones I had Friday. At first I was thinking it was the one I said where the customer shipped it under one address. They told me to reconsign. I reconsigned it. Then they called me after I tell them, hey, I reconsigned. Everything's groovy. And they were like, I need it reconsigned again. But then I realized that must have been Thursday because I remember talking about it on the stream here already. And I didn't mention it on Sunday because by that point it had left my memory. So I was like, it can't be that one. So I don't know quite what it is. I don't really fucking care. At this point, I'd almost take getting fired. I'll just make it clear to them they fight me on unemployment. I will sue the shit out of them. See, because back in December, they wrote me up for really quite a bullshit reason. I was putting notes in that had colorful words in my cases in places that are not public facing. So in other words, you know, I might say F this guy or something else after they had done something similar where it's like, okay, I did all this work. Okay, we got this thing going. I'm done. And then they come back and go, no, I need you to do it completely opposite. And I need you to do it another way again. And again, see, it would be a different story if I had any recourse to these people. In other words, if I could charge them extra and I get the money for it, that'd be great. I'd be like, sure, whatever, Mr. Customer, whatever. No, the sales engineer, who usually they don't get involved at all in any of this stuff, unless their customer starts complaining to them that they're not getting it done like we're not getting it done fast enough. They get the money. I know they don't share it. They don't give us a little bonus at the end of the year or anything like that, like some of the places I've worked before would do if you're in a customer support role, but they get, you do more for them. Nope. I get jack fucking diddly dick. So it's a bit of a hard kick in the balls. And so, like I said, I would leave some notes for myself. Usually it was in a sense to prioritize it. Like, look, you send something to me, I do it. You send back that you need it done in a completely different way. You're down on the totem pole. I mean, our cases come in so high volume usually that my opinion of it is if you really can't make a call, of where you need it or something like that, like first time around, that's your problem. Like I said, I did it the first time, no problem for you. Hell, a lot of times I let like the reconsignment fees and stuff slide. But you keep pulling that shit. And I refer back to my buddy who works in the same business on the end user side of things. So he would be the guy that would pretty much go to our customers to purchase our stuff, right? But on a higher voltage scenario. And he makes it very clear to me that if he were to send out a form to the distributor saying, release this stuff and have it delivered here, and then it turns out that here was wrong, he's like, I'd be fired. Once maybe I'd get away with. Twice, that's it, I'm done. And I kind of think about that and I go, this just shows how screwed over we get so often, because they're not, I guess, there aren't people that are quite as professional as his business must be, or whatever, his company must be. Because most of the people I have to deal with, not only will they make you do all this stuff and jump through all these hoops, but they want you to do it and say thank you for making me do it. You know what I mean? FYI, there's a reason they don't take me on customer visits anymore. I mean, we got an email Friday, which basically, it's completely contrasting to everything I've ever been taught regarding this position, which is that, like, we're supposed to have certain rules in place to make sure our customers aren't, like, full-on taking advantage of us. And the email we got was basically one of, we need to make it easier for people to deal with us. So now we're pretty aware that the situation that caused it was something that had shipped over a year ago, where when the pictures of the damage came in, now this wasn't one of my issues, it was something somebody else was working on. when they came in, we realized that the customer, like the end user, had taken a pair of tin snips to the panel board or whatever, or the load center, and damaged it in the field, and now we're trying to claim that it was delivered damaged. And believe me, this isn't like, it wasn't subtle stuff. I'm just going to try to adjust a little bit. So it's like if you received this a year ago and it had been damaged by the plant, you would have seen it. But it's pretty clear looking at it that it was a pair of tin snips caused the damage. And our plants aren't going to use a pair of tin snips on a trim. So it's pretty obvious. This was done in the field, and now the customer is free ship. Now, is the thing they're asking for, which is a new cover, that expensive for us? Not really. You know, I don't know the exact size of it, so it can vary a little bit, but for the most part, probably not. But what we've learned and what we've been told repeatedly is to try to avoid precedents. Because we let it slide now, and just here's free thing. That one-time free thing becomes all-the-time free thing. So now their end users have carte blanche to go ahead, take them 10 snips, F up the cover boards or whatever, you know, and just send them another one. Right? I mean, that's what would happen. Because what will happen is, even if we make it explicitly clear, like in that email, like, hey, this is a one-time, you know, the problem is that the next time they ask for it, they probably won't even talk to the same person. You know, they'll talk to another customer service rep, and they'll be like, hey, you know, so-and-so did this for us. And then they'll get their sales engineer involved. And I said they only get involved when the customers start complaining. And then the sales engineer is just going to say, just give it to them. Because what the sales engineer doesn't want to have happen is have any bad noise on his end, because that'll affect his commission at the end of the year. The sales engineers typically do not care how much money it costs Siemens, because in the end, their check only relies on how much the original job bill was. Wham, wham, wham. So, like, they get paid. I mean, they don't get really per job type thing, but they do get paid X. Like, they have to sell X amount of Siemens, you know, equipment per year or whatever, right? And they get new goals every year, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But they're, again, not marked by how much loss that we get. We get marked by that. You see where the contrasting ideas come in. But I've been told this is just the way it's always been. Anyway. And the email we got from my boss was basically, just give it to them. Don't even argue. I guess I'm just kind of getting frustrated anymore, not knowing what the rules are. You know? It's hard to work somewhere where you're literally trying to figure out, what are we doing today? I've made it a point before when I've had one of my bosses send something to me and say, you need to work on this thing right away. And then 5 minutes later, whatever it was like not a 5-minute job. You know what I mean? And like 5 minutes later, no, I need you to work on this thing right away. Well, I'm working on it. No, I need you on this thing. And you go, okay. So you start working on the other thing. A few minutes later, where are we with that first thing? And like I said, this is the shit that led to my breakdown. The only plus I have nowadays is that, again, the way I kind of explained on here a few times, when I have one of my depression attacks, typically, it's not immediate sadness. Okay, I usually deal with kind of an explosive bout of anger that then turns inward. Okay, like it's just pure frustration. I can't figure out what the fuck's going on in the world at the time or whatever it may be. And then it turns back on myself because I should have been able to figure out what the fuck's going on. So all that stuff sort of would happen. Like I said, I'd get pissed off at somebody or at the customers or at the management for not making it flipping decisions left and right, like Mayor Quimby, and when I finally cracked, it was like, okay, that was it. There was nothing left on me mentally. And through my therapy and through kind of the way me and the doctor worked it, in a way, it's like, yes, the long-term goal is to not end up pissed off and angry all the time. But that has a caveat. The main thing is to make sure that when that anger wave comes, not to let it turn backwards if it's legitimate, and righteous. Think Red Lanterns from DC Comics. If it's a righteous anger, because of weird flip-flopping and all that craziness, then it has the right to stay. And it has the right to stay targeted. As long as I've made it, I make it productive. And this is where this comes into play. It's where sending out applications every time I get frustrated at work, it's immediately onto Indeed, applying places. It's time to get out. Now, admittedly, that's been frustrating too because, like today, I applied for a front desk receptionist / sales thing at LASIK in King of Prussia. And I was rejected. I applied for it at like 3 o'clock, 3:15, somewhere around there. And I was rejected before I left work at 5. I was like, damn, did they even look at the application? Did they even look at the resume? Because the thing is, that job actually seemed like it would have been a pretty good mixture of a lot of stuff I've worked on. I may come off as cantankerous here again. I was in a very bad mood with regards to all this. But when I worked at Sprint PCS, I was a front-facing, literally in the store, dealing with customers. Some that threatened to shoot me. Not me specifically, but the store in general, I should say. So they shoot up the store, according to... Wrong ear. There we go. Conquer every mountain shine, but I'll never cross the river. Brave the forest, brave the stone, brave the icy winds and fire. Braved and beat them on my own, but I'm helpless by the river. But anyway, like I said, it's front-facing. And I had a pretty good time there. I think I was pretty well received for the most part by the customers. I enjoyed most of them. Even the guys that kind of were regular annoyances, I thought they were funny. And I thought I was pretty good at it. But my store was the 10th slowest store in the country due to bad reception areas. So they ended up shutting down the store, leaving me high and dry. There was other stuff, weird politics that got involved in it too. That is what it is, and it stunk. But like I said, in a history-wise of my career, I thought it was actually a nice little push towards this other job I applied for. Then working for Quest Diagnostics, handling billing and dealing with insurance companies, etc. Well, that's part of what this job description was. I can do that. I've done plenty of that. I was very good at that. I was insanely good at that, actually. Heart and hand my son, but never make it over the river. Could it be the salary request I had that automatically dumped me? I don't know. But see, here's the thing. I asked for exactly what I was searching for on Indeed. So if the salary was listed there to come up in the salary search, then they shouldn't have been rejecting me for that. Hands of the mighty must join as one. Alright, so this ends up about here, actually. I went a little too long, so we're going to try to pull it back a little bit. Share heaven and home. It's my mind all and by them driven. After every mountain shame. Together we'll cross the river. Brave the forest, brave the Stunkalon. So at this point, man, I gotta hope to God I can get something out of this. Maybe get some more followers. I don't know how much longer I have, honestly, at that place. And it seems that finding a job is not happening anytime soon either. I'm getting really... It's been frustrating. It's been like... You hear these reports that the job market is more jobs than there are people and shit like that, that are active. Because the, less than 4% unemployment rate means that there is actually, people that are too old to get jobs type thing, retirees and stuff, and kids that are 16 and younger or whatever. So there should be more jobs out there, but there ain't. I can't get a damn call back. So if there are jobs out there, they're jobs that pay, if you don't have X degrees or, some of the crazy ones, man, I look at it and they're like, all right, you need a bachelor's degree, you need 3 years experience, blah, 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 for $25,000 a year jobs. I'm like, that's cuckoo. That's flat insane. I could get it if you say, okay, well, yeah, I have a degree in Jack Diddley Dick. I mean, it's painting and drawing. And you could go, that's basically the same as not having a degree in a lot of places. But to demand that of, say, graduates and shit, I don't even know how people, kids graduating. I mean, people give millennials shit, but dude, if I were them, I'd be pissed as hell. Shit's gonna blow up soon. Somebody's gonna end up, making the Aerosmith song "Eat the Rich" come to reality at some point. I mean, I don't think they're gonna go to cannibalism, but you know what I mean. It's gonna be like some French Revolution bullshit. Turn me on. That's the way. I like it. That's the way. I like it. Like I said, I'm not too concerned. I'm trying to get at least the basic idea of what this tree is doing. But we don't need to fret about it too much, you know? Debating if I want to do these street lines now or just save them for... I want to save them up, you know, do them once we're actually, like, in the mix. You know what I mean? Like, get down here, paint the street lines out, you know what I mean? Like, here's going to be the true test of idiocy, to see if I can actually remember not to paint the goddamn telephone pole. And if you want to know why why I decided against it, I'll tell you. When I looked at kind of my shitty Photoshop version of it, I realized the telephone pole is going to go all the way up here, and it's going to have, you know, the cross line, like there. Which means now this painting becomes this and this, with a big old line in the middle of it. Now it's like, you know, the tree's sort of there, you know, but it cuts short. Which means I can have that sky here, kind of, you know, all the clouds and stuff. Boom, 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 boom. Flip around, you know what I mean? Like, they could be like, hey, we're hanging out at the barn, but we're going to come cruise with you too, man. You know what I mean? Like, hey, what's happening, house? Yeah, I am your champion. I may have won your heart, but I know the game and you forget my name. I won't be here in another year if I don't stay on the charts. Alright, do I need anything specifically else? Right. Things I did not know at first, I learned by doing twice. Still they come to haunt me. Still they want their say. So I've learned to dance with a hand in my pants, and I rub my neck and I'm writing a check, and they go their merry way. Whoa. I am the entertainer, and all around the world. Laid all kinds of palaces, laid all kinds of girls. Alright. Just trying to look at it, you guys. Perspective here. Like I said, I'm gonna have to fuck with this microphone a little bit to figure something else out with it. So it's not in the way of the painting. Because right now, if you can see right here, it's already getting a mark. You know what I mean? Like, it's gotten scuffed by the mic, so I got to figure something out to keep the mic where I can talk. I'm going to try something, but I don't think it's going to work. I'm going to try it real quick. I'm going to hit a beat right back. Okay. Woo, that scared me. It wasn't working for a second. All right, let's try this again. Oh, no, wrong one. Wrong button. My bad. No, I'm not starting soon. Already started. Not this apparently again. Now, the downside of this one is I'm going to have to scream. Sorry now. I should put a warning about motion sickness on here. But I'm going to have to scream when it comes to, like, working over here. Alexa, skip. Do not attempt to adjust your radio. There's nothing wrong. We have come under control so as to bring you from the show. We will return it to you as soon as you are gone. Welcome to the station WEFUNK, better known as We Funk. People still the mothership connection. Of the extraterrestrial brothers. Phillies beating the Dodgers right now, 5-4. Bomb. Kilowatts of P-Funk power. While we do it to you in here, yo. Oh, me? I'm known as Lollipop Man. It's a long-haired sucker. My motto is, make my funk to P-Funk. I want my funk uncut. Make my funk to P-Funk. I want my funk funked up. I want the funk. I want the P-Funk. Don't want my funk stepped on. Make my funk to P-Funk. Oh. Later, first. Sorry, my bad. Later first. That body it is. I want you to lay it on your radio. Funk live so funk not only moves, it can remove. Dig. The desired effect is what you get. Freaking habit. So groovy that I dig me. My time call right now. Let's say they funked out to death. I said 7 up. Yeah. Listening to as much Parliament as I do, I gotta be honest, man. I think sometimes it's just a fucking word salad. Like, they just sit there and start, you know. Like, what's the one? One lyric is, not for this song, but for another one, it's like the blowfish said to the shark, got anything for a hammerhead? It's like, what? The fuck does that? Or is it the shark to the blowfish? Yeah, I think it's the shark to the blowfish, got anything for the hammerhead? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, seriously. Alright. Little cobalt blue. If I gotta tell you where that's going, you guys gotta lay off the fucking weed, dude. You have to put your sunglasses so you can feel cool. Y'all should dig my sunroof now. You got funk for a while. Sounds like you got a 3 in under me. Down south, now here's some funk, some main ingredients. It was cool. But you imagine Doobie in your funk. Ho! F-U-N-K. Alright, let's see if you guys can guess where that's going. That is... Does it show up? Yeah, okay. That's ultra... no, it's ultraviolet. Sorry, cobalt violet hue. I was going to use my ultraviolet, but I thought it was too dark. Right. Make my funk the people before I take it home. Alright. Let's see. Don't tell me you're leaking, baby. You can't have me leaking. Yes, that's a little bit to me. Before anybody else says shit. Make my funk to people. I want to get funked up. I want the fun. I want the people. I want my funk stamped on. I won't lie, I'm not going to get very creative with the base color for the house. I'm going to be pretty straightforward on that one. But we're going to build on it pretty heavily. I hope you guys can fucking hear me when I do this shit. Alright, that's that. How about a little cadmium lemon? We're going to need some of that. And fucking that. That's for Star Child. Ooh, this one's dried the fuck out. Ooh, okay, there we go. We're definitely gonna need some. Got scared for a second. I thought, wait, where did I put the other picture? Alright. That's not cracked. I don't know why that was dried out. Alright. A little cadmium lemon. So it has a Naples Yellow Deep, right? What are we gonna do? Wipe that part away. Make my funk the people. I want my funk okay. Make my funk the people. Let's get funked up. I want the bomb. I want the people. Don't want my funk stem. Make my funk the people. Let's get funked up. Make my funk the people. Alright, I'm holding tight for a little bit before I start on figuring out what the tree's base colors are going to be right now. Who do I got here? Saying I got 3 people's watching. Who is you? Say hello. If you can. I mean, like I said, I know Fresco's still, like, if he put a window to watch too, but he's doing stuff. And I'm cool with that. That's cool. Trying to see what he's got going. Alright. So let's look what we need. We got our medium, which is apparently sealed to the table there. Gaze of light, just our hands clasped so tight. Heaven and hell beside, nothing both are satisfied. Alright, so like I said, we're not going to be wildly nuts with what we're choosing for our undertones this time around. I'm going to kind of keep it straightforward, I think. Because there's already enough, like, kind of warping that's going to kind of be taking place in this one. You know, like I've got to play around with the whole arrangement a little bit. Like it's already been moved a little around to get this to be in a good spot for. So the barn is still definitely a part of the painting. You know, but the house is definitely the focus. You know, we're going to be clearing up the we're not really clearing up the sky. It's still going to be, like I said, very cloudy by the time it's all said and done. It's just more of a... It's going to be a very vibrant cloudy sky. I think that makes a good way to put it. Like I said, this is all underpainting stuff. You know, if you haven't watched me before, I do this a lot. It's a couple reasons. Even when it, like I said, even when it's not like, sometimes it's a color that I really want to have a presence. But not really be very visible. And I know it sounds like really weird, but what I mean by that is like if you ever look really hard at, say, someone's skin. All right. Need a little turpentine on that. Need a little turp to bring it out. There we go. Let's go with the medium. Like, if you pay attention to someone's skin, you can actually see like several green tones, even in paler shadows. Like, you know what I mean? Like, without really getting... I mean, you can see it more often if it's a heavy shadow thing, but... and if you look at a lot of old paintings, if you were to do like x-rays or whatever, or CAT scans, I forgot how they do them, but they go through and it can actually start to identify some of the paint pigments that were used, and they'll find in the underpaintings greens and all sorts of crazy colors. And that's not Impressionist works. That's, classical stuff. Typically more, romantic period, I guess, level of stuff. Prior to the Impressionists and things like that. Because he's all I am, you of love. Heaven help me for the way I am. Sitting there. But so it's kind of like that same theory. Your brain will sort of pick up on like little elements where a color that doesn't seem like it's on the in the painting is still kind of there. I don't know if I'm explaining this right because I'm a little, like I said, frayed from earlier today, so I'm probably off, but this always has like two here. It gives me a little bit of pathway here. This is how my brushes will eventually flow through, and I might change one or two things once I'm like looking at it and go, well, I don't really like that. It gives me a chance to experiment it before I start getting heavy with the brush stroke. It gives me a little bit of a filler. So, like, in certain parts where especially like the leaves here, might be not quite, they're not going to fill up this whole area. There's going to be leaves that are, just 1 or 2 leads here over the blue area or whatever. And so adding this stuff in here gives me that little filler that if I don't quite feel, comfortable throwing in one of my heavier brush strokes later on into that crack between 2 leaves, I got a little blue there, it's fine to go with. It gives another layer of, like, depth in that spot. You know what I mean? So it's going to come. This one's not going to stay here. I can tell you that right now. I'll have to figure out something else for this mic. I can't figure it out right now. This is a good one to start, though, for getting the painting, because this was in the way earlier. But maybe I'll switch to the headset. I like painting that headset. It's a pain in the ass. I didn't mind it for the drawing, but even that started to bother me. But I might need to for this. I thought it was a good headset, but I'll be honest, I don't know how some of these gamers and shit that do that stuff, like stream on here for 8-9 hours a day and shit, how they can wear that stuff for that long. No idea. I thought mine was pretty good. Comfort-wise, And even that, I was losing it after. But I might have to, just so the mic stays with me when I go over here and go over there. So I can figure something else out. It's a bit depressing. This morning, I actually had intentions at some point today to have spent a little time looking at my Master's Yellow House. Like just to get that painting kind of fresh in my head again. Alexa, skip. It's like a pillow or something. I hate that shit. I don't know why damn thing feels the need to put that on all the time. There we go. Fox on the run. Don't wanna know your name, 'cause you don't look the same the way you did before. Hey, you think you got a pretty face, but the rest of you is out of place. You looked alright before. Did anybody sign the petition for James Gunn? I'm thinking about it, I'll be honest. Like, what James said was fucking disgusting. I want to preface this. What he had done, posted 10 years ago was fucking disgusting. But James has also openly come out many times since then to say, like, dude, this was garbage, I shouldn't have done it. So that says somebody who's learned their lesson. He was actually preemptive in apologizing for it before it was pulled up by, I forget the name of the asshat that pulled it out. And I think Disney was just trying to balance out, because they had fired Roseanne for something that was much closer in the time period, as I recall. The James situation reflects to me somebody that learned their lesson. and grew as a person. The Roseanne one seems to show something else. Especially when you compare it to Roseanne, many, many years ago. Stuff that she would do. I saw somebody complain about they were like they weren't really complaining, they were just like kind of a good riddance to him, because they said that he actually did a disservice to Guardians, as it was the Guardians of the Galaxy in name only or something like that. Look, I have to be honest. Did I ever read any of the really old Guardians books or whatever? No. So maybe they're right to a degree. What I'll say is, based on the current lineup that they had, which, was Groot and, Rocket and all that, I think James Gunn came in knowing he was making a movie about a talking raccoon and a talking tree. So he had to make it a little looser and funnier. Because while in the comic world, we're okay with that, it's, as a comic book nerd, that's kind of par for the course, right? I mean, but whatever. For the movie-going audience, I think that would have been a little much if he hadn't made it a little funnier, a little looser. Nothing wrong with me. Nothing wrong with me. Nothing wrong with me. Something's got to give. Something's got to give. Something's got to give. Now. Let the bodies hit the floor. 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 Skin to skin. Blood and bone. You're all by yourself when you're not alone. Nothing wrong with me. Now here's where it gets cuckoo. If you're new here, since I don't have a lot of people, I have to assume almost everybody's new here. That you may say, why is this called Painting for Lunatics? And it's like, all right, well, here's the thing. I'm doing all this work, right? And if you pay attention, I do like to paint wet on wet with a lot of, like I said, small brush strokes. Very Post-Impressionist. Check the old videos otherwise, so you can see what I'm talking about. The thing that's funny is that I want this to dry. I want this all to dry up on me. I wore my coat with golden lining, bright colors shine, wonderful rain, and in the east the dawn was breaking, and the world was waking, and colors faded into darkness. I was left alone. To the beginning, the light is dim, and the dream is too. And I. Let's get a little bit extra there. There we go. As I said, we're going to paint mostly over this, and we'll have different tones that'll come into play here. But having this idea laid out like this gives me a chance, too, to kind of already start to give you depth within those clouds. You know what I mean? Like, we're darker here, far away, as we're going back. You know, like that's where the heavy shit might be. And we're going to have it, yeah, okay, there's going to be a few shadows as it comes swirling up here. I mean, this will be, like I said, I don't want to say it's under threatening clouds. That's not quite what I hope to make it. But, you know, you might want to head inside. Now, if I were a good boy, and I'm not, I'm a bad boy, I would have cleaned my brushes before this thing started tonight. I would have done it last night or something, but the schedule didn't quite exist for that. So, shout it out. Shout at the devil down below. Shout, shout, shout at the devil down below. Jesus Christ. Shout, shout, shout at the devil down below. Shout, shout, shout at the devil down below. shouldn't be out. You won't be seeing us. You won't be seeing us now. Shout, shout, shout at the demo down below. Does anybody see this? How it's playing out? What time is it? Shit. Alright, I gotta go give kids kisses real quick. We'll try to run this quick. I'm actually happy where we got, no matter what. Like, technically I thought we'd still be drawing. To be honest with you. I kind of assumed that my night was going to disrupt, my day was going to disrupt my night. Oh shit, I can't use the headphones. Shit. I'll have to bring a splitter if I'm going to do that. Oh no, I can't. I take the mic out. Duh. I am smart. SMRT. I'm like, I can't do it. The microphone's in the way. The mics would be on the headphones. We'll give that a shot next time. Like I said, that's why I'm not in and out like this. Alexa, skip. I just want to get that done. That's a good one to play. That's a good one. Alright. But, we gotta stop. Okay, now we'll be right back. I'm gonna push this thing out the way. Oh boy. Yeah, it's not. I didn't like that at all. Oh, come backwards. That's why. Alright. Oh. There we go. Okay. So let me get to my editor. I'm having a real problem with that. Okay, there we go. Didn't fight me this time. That's cool. It's been fighting me. Now, I will be honest. This is going to be the spot where I will admit that technically, as far as an art instruction site goes, or channel goes, I will say the one place I am flawed at. I will always be one while you're here. I could talk to you all the time about, color theory. I could talk to you all the time about compositions. I can talk to you about symbolism. One I have almost no knowledge of on a real practical basis, truth be told, is what brushes I should use under what situation were I to be a more formal looking painter. That is to say, like, which brushes you should be using to blend with, which ones you should be using, for certain types of marks, blah, 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 blah. I pretty much judge all brushes on how big they are. Most of my larger brushes, as you can see here, as I'm using them, is just for the underpainting. So it really doesn't matter what the hell type brush stroke they make. A majority of it's going to be completely covered up and you won't ever see again. As I said, it's only there to kind of give an essence, a little hint of something that may have been. Darling, you're the one who say you. I am one. Say you. Darling, you're the one who say you. And look, here's the thing. There's a shit ton of books and other YouTubers and Twitch streamers, I'm sure, that can tell you all that stuff. But I don't know if they'll tell you the same ideas about, like, compositional elements that we've been working on. Like, when I talked about the robust square last night, or the 3 basically is what this more know it as now, I guess. Which falls under the whole idea. We kind of have it here. Anyway, it's within range of that, and you can see, like, if we break this canvas down kind of into that sort of idea, I guess more on a direct third, with, 2/3 of this still fits in that, where you have, like, the tree and the house on that 2/3 side, right, before you get the divide. So we're still kind of following that. And then on that last third, old compositional conception. I'll think you do. Well, thank you. Right, what do we got here? Yes, sorry, just putzing around with stuff here. It's so funny. It's telling me there's only 2 people watching, and then I put the list of viewers, and it's got me up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So is that the total through the night? I this fucking thing confused. I'll get this shit one day, but it's there, it's there. The as I said, all this here. I mean, truth be told, look at the reference picture. Oh, damn it! I meant to post that. I'll post that before Wednesday's stream, so you guys can, if you want to paint along, draw along, whatever. That's my painting. It's his, technically. Divide. I knew it would have also, I want to talk about the rule of 3 earlier. At 3. Alright, what do we got next? Alexa, skip. Let's stick with that brush, though. I like that. Patterns on the wall. Here too, and I'm not even gonna fight it because I know it's gonna happen, and because I'm gonna want to get to work, and I know I have enough time. I think. You know, your elements. Whatever. I'll get to it later. But I think that's okay. Based again on how I paint. For the longest time, I didn't even do any underpaintings. I gave up on it for a while. I flip back and forth on them sometimes. Like one painting I do it, next painting I want it. I will only say that the results I've had since I started painting again March of last year, I feel were much stronger, and I've underpainted on every single one of them. But like I said, I tend to leave the... What? Dot, whatever one you got. I swear to God, I set this fucking thing off all the time. There's part of me who wants to like take it off of the headphones again. It would YouTube or anything else, and I'm sure Twitch would give me shit for having other people's music on there. I like getting into fights with this thing. Quite literally drives me nuts. The only way I could drive my nuts even more would be like if I actually had a steering wheel in my crotch. Leave that there without commentary. All right, we'll just put it that way. And back. So I always keep. I was traveling a lot back and forth. I was commuting. Flies with me one day, so sometimes you got to find a quick way to make like a makeshift, turp jar. Alexa, fucking hours of music and you play the same things time and time again. Yeah, let's see what I want to. We get the house. Oh, I just noticed something. Hold on. Take that. Better fucking go away. think what to me when it's like, well, what kind of day was it when the picture was taken? And I think what keeps me kind of sedated, son of that's what I forgot to do. I forgot to spray. I should have put sealant on it. Fuck. Now we're gonna be arguing with the pencils all night, like the whole time. Sometimes that works. But I don't know what it's gonna do with this. It causes a lot of issues in this house. Our hope is that the underpainting takes a lot of the graphite dust off. Son of a bitch. Anyway, what was I talking about? The reason I'm not doing like a lot of crazy things. Believe it or not, on a cloudy day, any type of gray day, I tend to find you get more accurate color. If that makes sense. See, for someone like me, my eyes, they get super, super when it comes to, like, on a sunny day, the colors that come visible. Alexa, skip. We're about to hit a stream of skips. Oh, there we go, Dracula, alright. More Metal Knight, anyway. Oh, I got a little taste of blue in there for some reason. Like when the sun's shiny, man, I see yellow in everything. You know what I mean? I see it just everywhere. A lot of times I'll use like a crazier undertone to try to offset it a little bit. At least in the early elements of the painting. Likely by the end of it, it'll all show up, but. I'm butchering it, I know, don't worry. Told you, nobody talks. And I am the wild. Shepherd. Is it Dress to Kill? Alright, I think it's this. What are you talking? You know, we only like to learn a little bit of a song. You know, 5 golden rings, 4 monkeys, monkey. You know, that's me. Now that I've distracted myself again, like I said it. So I think when it's a cloudier day, you know, the color is a little more on its natural state. So I don't feel the need to go as pow. That sounds like it should be backwards, but I don't know why it's not. And I think that's why it bothered me. If I'm going to break down. But when that occurred, it had been a rather grayish day. I mean, it wasn't gray, you know, like it wasn't like it was all super cloudy. There were enough clouds in the sky. Yeah, okay. Oh, I know what I'm doing. What I'm missing. That's why I'm like, look, this is off. Okay, there we go. That part's yellow. That's the post. Okay. All right, I got it. Picking up what I'm putting down. You know, auto, but anyway. Fucking painting. Oh, and I just painted over a window. Try to. So I didn't mark that one right. Let's get the portrait and then we'll put the corrections in. Alexa. Skip. Not much time left, so we're probably over already. Actually, Alexa, you just did this, bitch. Alexa. Skip. Alright, morphine's good. We can end on morphine. But when it happened, like I said, it was kind of a gray day with a little bit of shining. And it was in that moment when I realized I wasn't seeing color properly that I was like, what had gone from, oh, I'm kind of been bumming recently and been rather depressed, became like, oh, I'm in crisis. And so, it's a sacrifice. And tell me where is the thief? Well, someday there'll be a cure for pain. Whoop, went a little too far. That's all right. We're all right. We're all right. Today I throw my drugs away when I find a cure for pain. Alright, alright. Where is the cave where the wise women went? Tell me where all that money that I spent. You guys like, he's making the fucking branches red. Right? And they're thicker than they need to be. Ah, what the fuck am I doing? I'm out of my mind! It's alright. Someday there'll be a cure for pain. I throw my drugs away when I find a cure for pain. Alexa. Yep. Back to here for a second. Alright, there we go. Ready? Ready? Watch this. Watch this. Alexa. What's happening, bitch?
There are no events scheduled for the next 7 days.
I don't know. Tell me like what's going on there. I think it's great. So told you guys if there's a shitty joke to be made, I will bombard that shit. So I'm gonna mix some stuff in here real quick. Again, my goal is to get most of this stuff to dry, so it's not like I really give two shits about what's here, what's not. You know, like I said, it's more of a, here's a tone I want you to kind of spot. You know, not over as the viewer, not as my Twitch viewer, but as the viewer of the painting when it's finished. Like, feel necessarily like the color. Painting for Lunatics. I was disappointed, actually. I saw on a Facebook group that I'm a member of, this guy was doing live streams. I forget how he called it, but it's like a rated R stream is what they refer to it. It sounds like he's done kind of thing, but also, like I said, he's cursing, he's doing all that stuff. And I'm like, oh man, he kind of took my idea, except he did improve on it, because he got like a buddy who's in shape to just stand there in like short shorts with no shirt on. I'm like, damn it, why did I think of that? Like, shit. I could stand here with no shirt on and short shorts. Slap my stomach and you guys can watch it just jiggle and I am not in shape. But anyway. What are you guys good for tonight? Actually undecided what I want to do with the trees. I'm thinking I got 3 variations over there. I think all 3 of them will end up played out. I just don't know which way I'm doing it first. I mean, I'm thinking. Here's kind of what instinct is. I'm feeling olive green, turquoise blue. Olive green, I should say, is like kind of like this big. Probably Viridian, at least down here. But I'm thinking to start. Primarily, it's going to be our base anyway. Like, if the Viridians are our darkest tone on it, though I could go with French Ultramarine. Maybe I'll put highlight French Ultramarine in there. The underpainting. And then it'll come into play later. Alright, a little long. That's alright. Whatever. So. Oh, damn, man, I lost 2 followers. When that shit happened. I didn't realize that. I was with the 26. Fuck. I was all excited. I was over halfway to the 50. Anyway. Finished up. The thing is, I can let the underpainting on the greens go, and if we can get into it, we can, the sky. By the time we're to the sky and everything, and like the next Thursday, so should be cool. All right, guys. So I'll catch you then. Peace out. Be good. Don't do shit I would do.